Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for being here, for joining us in this series of talks promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation. We are here every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Today, I'm so happy to host this talk by our special guest, Sabrina Tomaszewski. And Sabrina will be discussing issues such as facing struggles. Before we turn it over to Sabrina, I would like to take a moment to do a short opening prayer. So let us, if I may, invite all of you who are here today. Let's close our eyes. And at this moment, let's open our hearts and connect with all that is good. Connect with God, connect with the spirits of lights, our benefactors who are here today, who guide us through our journey on earth. May we all be blessed in this moment. May our dear friend Sabrina receive the inspirations during her talk, and that all of us be touched by her words. So be it. Sabrina, welcome to our talk on this Saturday, and we hope you and your family are doing well. It is so good to have you here, and I believe this is a topic that touches all of us, no matter where you're from, whatever you believe. It touches all of us. So thank you, Sabrina. But before Sabrina begins her message about struggles and how we face them, I would like to introduce her more formally. So, Sabrina is an active member of the Peace and Knowledge Spiritist Center of Orlando, PKSCO. She works as a general coordinator of the Magnetic Spiritual Treatment, or the PASIS department. She's also the founder and coordinator of the Magnetism and Spiritism Study Group. She currently researches on the benefits of the mechanisms of Spiritist art, and with a special focus on the therapeutical effects of the mediumistic painting for our bodies and mind. She professionally, Sabrina works as an instruction systems designer in the field of global aerospace and defense. And I am so happy to have you here, Sabrina. So before we start, I just wanted to give a friendly reminder for everyone. Please send your questions. Use the chat window, and Sabrina will reserve some time to address your comments and questions before she concludes. After she concludes her presentation. So, Sabrina, please go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Before we start, thank you so much for the invitation. It's such a pleasure being here with you today. I kind of chose this topic with an intent in mind, knowing that when we see statements like facing struggles, the question that may come to your mind is, who doesn't? Which one of us, who of us do not face the struggles in life? Apparently, some people that we look at is just like maybe they don't face any difficulties, everything is great in their lives. But evidently it's not. And some levels, we do face some hardships in life. We do have to place efforts in many things that we desire. So today, the talk, it's a little bit more personal. I personally like to choose topics that can impact our lives. Not to bring a recipe per se, how we have to proceed, but just for us to reflect. I would say like a topic for self-reflection. So where we are in this, how am I dealing with my difficulties? How do I face the things that happen in my life? Good or not so good ones. So let's see what we can bring to you today. Of course, in the light of the Spiritism, for this talk, we read and study on the Spirit's book, also the Gospel according to Spiritism, especially the chapter "Blessed are the afflicted." And also, we based this talk on the book by Joanna de Angelis and Divaldo Franco that's called Wake Up and Be Happy. So I hope you like it, and let's just move on. So Joanna de Angelis, who is the spiritual mentor of Divaldo Franco, who channeled the book, she brings to us the statement saying that struggles are blessed challenges imposed by the law of progress. So, for whatever reason, when we see nature, for instance, there is a struggle for survival. Although they don't have the same issues that we do, they don't undergo things that we do yet. But there is a struggle for survival. They have to go look for their food. They have sometimes to kill each other to eat, right? But in a way that even though they are not humans, there is in nature and is a law that we all go through certain times for us to progress, for us to move ahead. The same thing with a butterfly. A butterfly goes through a painful process of painful. I don't know if she feels any pain, but a painful process if you see it just in that cocoon and slowly until it becomes a butterfly. So there is a certain amount of effort involved for her to find freedom, for it to find light. The same thing with us as humans. It's not easy to come to this world. We, through the conception, we go through a lot of transformations in a woman's womb, and then it's the birth time, and everything is a hard time for us. It's not easy. So many of us have the concept of a happy life would be an easy life. And spiritism comes to explain to us that is totally the opposite. Of course, I'm not going to defend the aspect of being living in misery. That's not what spiritism is about to teach us, but just to let us know and to enlighten our minds and our hearts that difficult times, efforts, and strength that we have to conquer for move on with our lives. This is part of life for everybody's life. Um, so the constant struggle for survival is in nature, and if we see us as humans, we also go through some. We have to go to work. Not everybody likes to go to work. I personally love it, but some people don't like it. Some people question why we have to work. Um, some people we have to, when we want to eat something, we can just sit down on the table and wait. Or even though if you go to a restaurant, somebody has to make it. So there is a process involved for us to achieve some results. With that, starting on the question 119, I wanted to bring to you all this question that Allan Kardec, who is the codifier of Spiritism, he asked the spirits the following question: could God exempt spirits from the trials that are required of them to reach the first order? First, let me explain a little bit of this first order. It's not the topic of this talk, but when Kardec categorized the spirits orders, the first one are for the spirits that are pure spirits, those that are very high evolved ones. They do not need to undergo any trials. They are pure. They do not make any more mistakes. They love unconditionally. So the second order are spirits that the spiritual things, the things that are over matter per se, have predominance in their lives instead of the matter, like things that are attached to matter, how much money they make, how many things that they can get, and they have a constant desire to do good. Now, the third order would be the spirits there still have the predominance of evil, of selfishness. Um, they do have an intuition of God, but they do not fully comprehend. So when he asks this question, he's referring to um, why God did not create us already spirits from the first order. Why we are not pure? Because God is good, it's perfect, knows everything. So why he has to create us simple and ignorant without any knowledge? And the answer is, if they had been created already perfect, if we all have been created perfect, they would not deserve to enjoy the benefits of that perfection. So, what would be our merit if we were created already knowing everything, having everything? What would be our merit? What we would learn in that process? So, that's one of the questions that many people have. God is good. Why it didn't take this out of me? Why I was not born already knowing everything? Why do I have to go to school and things like that? So this is the reason God in his wisdom and his justice wants each one of us to progress, to become better, and to reach light. Our main destiny and only one destiny is to become perfect, relatively perfect, because perfection is only for God. But one of those days, which is going to take a long time for some, for most of us, um, we are going to achieve the level of love unconditionally, the level of not being so attached to matter, the level of forgiveness that is not even going to be a fact in our lives because we won't get offended anymore. But this time, it's a little bit further away. So let's go over. I invite you all that to check on the Spirit's book this topic, 100, where he describes the order of the Spirit, so we can understand that the Spirit that protects us, what we call a guardian angel or a guardian force, whatever name you want to call, are a very high evolved spirit, a lot more than ourselves. So Joanna De Angelis again in this message, which she named it "Facing Struggles," she tells us about struggles that are created on Earth. With that in mind, we can think of, okay, what do you mean by struggles created on Earth? Well, by that we can think about transitory assets. So many of us dedicate our lives, sacrifice our families to have the best home in the neighborhood. This is a totally unnecessary struggle. Many of us, which I'm saying many of us as humanity, I'm not pointing out at anybody, but we suffer the aggression, the oppression of individuals that think that they can be more than everybody else. We see this everywhere in this world because if this would not exist, there would be no misery, there would be no hunger, there would be equality in terms, but everybody will have your share. That's not what happens. So there are struggles that are created on earth, people that have the capability of destroying nations right now, but later on, they're going to have to deal with their guilt conscience. So that's not the end. Many of us might dedicate our lives to get money, to make money, to save money, which is great. It's part of life. We have to survive. It's okay if you want a cool car, if you want a bigger house, if you wanted to wear nice brand clothes, that's totally fine. What she's trying to tell us is that when this becomes a struggle, I've seen people that had the how can I say the decision per se to eat rice and eggs for months and months long just to get a brand new car. This is a totally unnecessary struggle. And of course, we can apply this to our lives. Where what is that what can be avoidable in my life? Wow, I have the struggle to go to work. Of course, this is part of the progress. even if it's a job that you and me, we don't like. It's part of the progress. We are learning something from that experience. Like like we saw before, if God has given everything to us, what would be the merit? What would be the lesson? What would be the progress? So in this case, I invite you all to reflect in your life what can what is happening right now that could be avoided. I'm pretty sure we're going to find many situations, not only with transitory assets that she says, well, it's just a momentary thing. We spend so much time, so much energy in acquiring things and becoming the best looking. And I'm not saying in any moment that we have to look ugly. That's not what I mean. But at the point that you dedicate your whole life to your appearance, to how much money you're going to save, um, that becomes a very unnecessary hardship. So, moving on in the message, she brings us another type of struggles that as human beings we might go through. And I would say might because there might be people that are not in that level yet. And this is not the end because eventually, like I said in the beginning, we are going to be up high, but not yet. So the struggle that she said on this regard is for the people that aspire to do good, to move toward goodness, but is tired. They are tired. They are oppressed. They are revolted of all the evil that they see happening. They struggle to do good in a way that, if you think about this, what it could be a type of struggle to do good, maybe I struggle to renew our feelings. How hard it is forgiveness. How hard it is to look at a person that mistreated you such and such day. Some people carry that over years. It's hard to renew that feeling. It is so hard to acquire spiritual assets because it takes a lot more time and energy to acquire efforts that will have meaning to our physical existence and beyond. Because what she brings to us is that we are so focused on things that are transitory matters that we're not going to carry over this. When we move out of this world, going to our permanent home, per se, because we're going back to this school, the earth school again. But what we are filling our spirit with? So the other type of struggle that she brings to us is the struggle for us to overcome primitive passions. This is so hard, dear friends, because sometimes we carry over our past and we punish ourselves because I've done this, I've done that. When in reality, we should be learning with this, learning with our experience and understanding that at that time that I did and I was like that, it's over. I have days ahead of me to change this picture, but it's a lot of work to do that. The struggle to find ways to improve our character, find our integrity, self respect, respect to others, even the ones that we do not get along. Ethics. Some people have a very hard time for ethics. And our values. What are our values? What are our limits? Is struggle to develop our intelligence. It is hard because I could go to any university today and say I want to join that course, and they would say, well, I'm sorry, you have to do a little bit of prep for that, some tests to take, maybe an essay you have to turn it on. No, but I want it right now. I want my diploma, my degree right now. Well, that's not possible. Sometimes we also struggle for self discovery, self enlightenment, which is all this process of knowing ourselves, knowing when we are tired, when we are heavy shoulders, what's next? What am I going to do? Struggle to decide the best way to go. This is hard. And sometimes what we do is escape, escape from that moment of decisions that will shape our destiny. And this is a hard one. But I can guarantee to you that this process, if for us to choose which one we go through, which we're going to talk about a little bit, we have to maybe think about what am I going to take after this experience. For sure, I'm not going to take my car, but for sure, I'm going to take the love for my difficult son. Was a very, very hard learning experience for both of us, but I got his love. And this I'm taking with me. But I'm not taking the beautiful home, the job that I dedicate 20 hours of my day and sleep, barely sleep 4 and eat and shower sometimes. I'm not taking that. But I'm taking what effort you did in your job to deal with some people, what effort you did to hand a help for that person in need. That's the problem. Even to practice charity, there is a struggle. Some people understand charity as material giving, and it's easy for, hey, for who has lots of money, it's very easy to do charity. And I'm not putting that as a, okay, this is a negative thing. No, it's not. But sometimes the real charity is for us to listen a little more, even though we don't want to talk to that person. So it is not easy. In both ways, we can ask yourself, okay, I see that this struggle is real. We know that. We are in the ocean, waves are coming. We can't stop them. This is how it goes. And this is how life sometimes. The problem is that we focus on what's not working. We focus on why this is so hard. Not always we focus on the results. Not always we are seeing a sea that can be calm some days because my minds are in a very, very high and strong waves. So, my question to you, and this is also Joanna Giangeli's observation in this message, what is our focus? What type of struggle am I choosing to focus? My energy, my intelligence, where I'm dedicating myself? This is a question we all should do. We all should ask ourselves daily. We spend our energy, our time in so many things they are so useless. And of course, I'm thinking about a long term. This when we talk about spiritism, when we talk about a spiritual life, we are not talking about me as an individual today only. We are seeing ahead. So when I see ahead, I can deal with the waves in my life a lot better. Some people are led to chaos, to distress, especially when they don't have the conflicts solved, when they don't understand that it shall pass, when they think this is the end. It's hard to live like this. I have to agree with you. If it wasn't the spiritism in my life, I'll tell you for sure, I don't know if I would be having the life I have. So let's take this piece of information per se, and try to reflect in ourselves. When I go through a hardship, which is part of life, why I don't collect the coins of joy and peace? Oh, but there's no joy. It's all disaster. No. And I'll tell you what, that it's no. Me and you, we went through a lot of hardships in the past, a lot of effort. Let's, for whoever is a little bit younger than me, the effort to go to college, a lot. It's cool, not even going there. What you got in the end? You got your degree, you got your certification. Of course, I'm bringing an example of a matter, but let's this developing of intelligence takes time, takes effort. Another thing we can think is the pleasure of accomplishing something, even though it didn't work the way I want. How about the experience? No, but I lost that family member, and it's the end. I cannot deal with that. I share your pain. I understand, and I'm really compassionate about it. But I also know that way beyond, this is going to end because you're going to reunite. But now it's hurting. And yes, it is hurting. And how can I turn my life around? First thing we can think that as in today is what we're going through today is going to develop our strength for tomorrow. I guarantee that each one of you can say today that what I'm going through today, it's hard. But what I went through in the past made me the person that I am today. Sometimes I look back in my life and I'm thinking, if I haven't gone through that, I wouldn't be able to face what I'm facing now. And this is something we have to have in mind. It is painful, it's a lot of work. Sometimes it's very destructive, but there is no destructive for the spirit. There's no destruction. Real feelings are not destroyed. Real ties of affection are not destroyed. Everything else is going to be gone. Whatever the seeds of compassion for myself as well, because we tend to only think about compassion as doing something for others or as caring about their pain. No. During the struggle, it is crucial that we have compassion for ourselves. First thing we do is get a chain and knock us over because how stupid I am, how I've gone through this. How can this possibly be happening to me? When in reality, we should praise ourselves, say, okay, I'm thinking that the Spirit tells us in a gospel according to Spiritism, that is a wonderful topic. They talk about the evil and its remedy. It's in item 19, I think the chapter 5. I'm sorry, I don't have that. Chapter 5, yes. They're going to talk the evil and its remedy. Oh, it sounds a little bit, well, should I love to suffer or should I love to go through difficult times? And that's not what they mean. But they tell us that in the other side of life, when we are in the spiritual world, before reincarnation, most likely we choose the trials that we have to undergo. And then they say, why we're complaining now? No, I didn't choose that. Well, some things I have to agree with you. Yes, like we spoke at the beginning, there are some transitory matters that was not chosen. Nobody reincarnate with the plan of you're going to reincarnate, but you have to work really hard to get the best mansion in your neighborhood. I can guarantee to you, nobody reincarnate for that. Now, if you are in the spiritual world and they say, listen, there is a lesson you're going to need to learn this time, which is how you're going to deal with your money. So you're going to come really rich or you're going to come really poor and see what you get from there. That's the point. So the point is not the trial that we undergo, but how we face it. Because they're going to say, why complain now? Why? That experience will be gone when your body is gone. So take charge. Let's go through it. Let's move along. Our world is facing a phase right now that we think, oh, this, I never thought it. I hear people saying, I never thought this would happen on my time. Well, guess what? It happened at any other times in the past. Now it's our turn. And what are we taking from this? Growth, knowledge, sometimes pain. But a pain is a tool for progress, for self-enlightenment. What I'm learning from this experience. So when the spirit says that, why are you complaining now? Embrace this time. Most of the things you chose, most of the things you need to go through, they are not saying it anyhow that we have to embrace our hardships, thinking that it's wonderful to go through some things in life. Nobody likes to be tested. I personally don't. I wish I could study, having somebody watching me study a lot. You don't need to do any tests. But for whatever thing you want to do, if you want to be successful, you have to prove that you have the knowledge. And this also applies to the spiritual matters in life. So reality is, when we are struggling, that doesn't mean that we are failing. But sometimes we feel and act like that. So if it's not failure, what really is? And I'll let the question for you to think about it. I'm not answering because I don't have that answer. So nobody, please don't ask me that. But what really is? There's a question we have to ask ourselves. Well, maybe an array of opportunities to come, maybe a process of self-enlightenment, a process of identification of myself, of the flow of God, of good ideas, of development, maybe an opportunity to fight against my lower tendencies. We have to think about that. If this effort that I'm making right now, if those hardships, is just difficult, are going through my life now, if I'm not failing, what is going on? And we're going to have that answer. Plan A didn't work. Plan B didn't work. It's not the end. And I can guarantee to you that it's not the end, because God could have created us on the past and said, okay, listen, I'm creating you. Make sure you reincarnate and do everything you can, because this is your last chance. No, that's not how it works. There is a God of mercy, of wisdom, of justice, that want us to succeed, to achieve by our own merits. And how we think about merit, this is a topic that really intrigues me, because people usually say, well, the person doesn't go through this because she or he has merits. Okay, what is merit? Merit? Well, maybe something that person worked for it. Because in the eyes of God, all of us deserve great things. The difference is who is working towards deserving great things. That is our part now. So during this struggle, It is needed, it's necessary that we find ways to attain some harmony, even though the waves are. I like to think about the waves because when we are in the ocean, the waves are very high and strong sometimes. I personally don't like them, but I go anyway because I love the beach. I have to deal with what the beach is offering me, but I love it. When it's calm, it's perfect, but it can get boring too. It can get boring, be there the whole day, not even a little movement. So that's life. Life is like that. It has to have that movement to shake us up. So, in this eyes, in this view, the struggle is a blessing, no matter which one it is. When, if there was no this struggle, we would not have the strength to overcome because there is more to come because we are not there yet. Those who do not struggle anymore, you know what they are doing? They are helping us. They are still in that path. Not even then, they stopped to serve, to do what is good, what is right. They no longer need to go through things that we go through, but they are still active, are still doing great things, still evolving, no stopping. So, thinking about that, the ascension of the spirits, like that we spoke before, is a result of a non-stopping struggles that they overcame. They overcame their passions. They overcame through inspiration of reason, of love, of effort, of progress. They knew, not that they knew, they didn't know it, but through the experiences, they learned, better saying, how to use the resources of love that they had in hand, the resources of patience that they had in hand, because for some people it's very little, the resources of abnegation, compassion. So, no, but my life is so upside down. I have no time or no reason for that. Well, I'll tell you what, all of us were created with the God seeds inside of us. We are his creatures. So we do have seeds to develop. And part of this process, it is to go through some experiences. I can only develop love if I go through situations that challenge how much I can love. And we all know it's very easy to love the ones who love us. So it is necessary to go through that situation where I might have a little bit struggle every now and then. Every struggle that we went through shaped the person that we are today. No exceptions. Today, we are a result of many, many, many experiences. And this is great. We are at our best now. At the Spiritist Center that I work, we have a spiritual assistants that we talked about a lot about those feelings and those things. You know, people are usually very, very in need, emotionally speaking and spiritually. And I always like to tell them, listen, you today is a lot better than yesterday, and you today is worse than tomorrow. Because 5 minutes from now, I am a different person. It's a non-stopping process. So we do need to be thankful for what happens to us, even though the experience is hard. Developing strength, that backbone where you say, you know what, I went through a lot, I can handle this. If we are not struggling, we are not learning. Neuroscientists today, they found that mistakes are helpful for our brain. If I get a test at school and I do everything right, or I look somewhere else, what's the knowledge? What's the effort to learn? It doesn't do any path in my brain. So when I am learning, when I'm struggling, I'm like, okay, let's record that information. Let's keep up that experience because this is going to help me in the future. It's exceeding our learning potential. And this is great. Well, I can guarantee that some of you might be thinking, well, maybe you don't have any struggle. Yes, I do. A lot. And this is something that sometimes we see in the media or whatever we go, we see, be kind. You don't know the struggle that person is facing. And this is so powerful and so true. We see people smiling, perfect diagnosis, no health issues, perfect homes, perfect cars, perfect children. That's not it. There is something that that person is facing. Because if there was not, that person wouldn't be in this planet, wouldn't be in that category that we cite at the beginning. First, second, and third order. We are spirits of the third order. Of course, I want to believe that most of us are not evil spirits anymore. We are not. We are trying to strive for the better. We are trying to learn things. We're trying to get out of this pain. I get it. Many of us are not, don't feel more the pleasure of causing pain in others. This is great. But the evil still is a predominance in our lives. It is so much that once we go through this process of struggles, the higher spirits are telling us, listen, listen, this is temporary. I went through that and I'm here. But we are not listening because we are attached to the negativity or what that pain, what this, instead of seeing what is ahead of that. What can I self discover when I go through this pain? And I'm not here to tell you what to do because I don't know what to do, not even for myself. But there are things that we have to question ourselves. Ask God, okay, I have this on my hands. I have to achieve this or I have to do this. I don't know how to do, but I have to start. And not always it's easy to move on. We know that. So with this uh, introduction, which is not introduction, but with this comments that we went through, these reflections, I want to bring to you a few things that Joanna Giangelis talked about this message as well, and how we deal with this. So, okay, we have the situation in life. We are fighting. What is your fight? That was the first question we have to ask ourselves. What is our fight? Oh, I fight about everything. Everything's hard in my life. No. Okay, everything is hard in your life and in mine. But where you are really focused on, your energy, your feeling of progress, of moving forward, your love, things that we have to think about it. So the first thing that we can bring up for today is maybe thinking about growing towards God. And then you might be saying, well, you know what, this talk is not for me, I don't believe in God. Well, I'm not asking you to believe. Spiritism doesn't ask anybody to believe in anything. How about you grow towards the power, the seeds that the God has placed in you? Because you may not believe Him, but you do have that power. The power to grow towards God, to anticipate the liberation of this physical body, to think about future life. Well, I don't believe in anything. Well, I guess I have to tell you one thing today. Reincarnation is a law. We want it or not, we're going to come back. You're going to find that out later on. And I'm not here to vanish your feelings or to make anything more difficult. God doesn't need us to believe Him. He is. So growing towards God means we live looking for the death of the body. Oh my gosh, no. So I have to be living, thinking about dying. No, that's not what I mean. It's for you to think about future life. Where are you spending your energy or time in temporary matters? That's the point. Okay, I have to work. I want to have a nice home. That's great. That is great. But also, you struggle to get better relationships, get better at your work, how you deal with your coworkers. That's the point. Because this is what we're going to take. We're not going to take our bank account to spiritual world. Thank God we're not. But we are going to take the experience, how I dealt with my money, how I dealt with my family members. This is going to impact us tremendously. So the proposal of Joanna D'Angelo is this: it's not telling us, oh, forget about everything on earth. No, we live on earth, period. It's great to travel, to do great things and buying things. I love buy a lot of things that I enjoy, building with my son and doing all that. It's great, but cannot be only that. We have to push a little forward to grow towards God, take care of our spiritual being. Self enlightenment is the goal of this experience, this physical condition that we are. We are not here just to as a tourist. Well, in terms we are, because this is a journey, right? But it is a learning journey. It's not for us to just be enjoying and doing nothing else. Another fact that she brings to us is that do not turn your struggle into an instrument of a torment for you or for others. This is a big deal. Many times we either punish ourselves or we blame somebody else. And we've learned from the spirits in the Gospel according to Spiritism and many other books, hey, what are you facing right now? It's what you have to face. No, but that person did this to me. Yes, that person was the instrument to make you work, make your efforts towards that situation. But that person, it's not your struggle. So we label people and conditions like, oh, I'm like this, I'm feeling like this because of that. No, we are feeling like this, we're dealing like this because we don't know how to face that situation. Because for many of them, they're already up and high. It doesn't matter how much evil the other is doing, they're going to love. It doesn't matter how many times people try to offend them, they're going to love. It doesn't matter if they're rich or poor, they're going to leave with joy. But that's not us yet. So this is what she calls us our attention for that. Another thing is that find peace without trying to push your limits or embark in endeavors beyond your reach. How many of us do this all the time? And by any reason, I'm saying, okay, so what we hear about push your limits, do this or that, we shouldn't do this. No, that's not what she's saying. We have to push our limits. That's part of life. I have a task in front of me, a math test, which I dislike. I'm not going to even do that because I don't know. No, I have to push through it. But finding peace. Some people go over from what they can handle. And then we start the real struggle. Totally unnecessary. Sometimes we embark on endeavors beyond our reach. And I was trying to bring you guys an example, and I thought even it was funny, but I'm not a sports person since I was a child. Never liked them. My thing is more mind intellectual activities. So I was looking and watching the Olympics, and I'm thinking, if somebody ever said to me, I'm going to pay you $1 million for you to go to the trampoline or run like that, how I would do it? Oh no, I'm gonna do it. $1 million, I'm gonna do it. No, you're not. You haven't exercised for your whole life. You haven't practiced for your whole life, and you wanted to go in the Olympics and do that? You can't do that. By that, I'm not saying you're never going to be able to do it, but it requires effort. And some people want to go over, though, these steps to go to an endeavor that they cannot reach yet. And that brings us a lot of pain. Make us feel like we are failing. And it's not. Turn towards reality. So we are the masters of avoidance, right? On Earth, we are the masters of avoidance. We want to buy things, even if we don't have money. We want to pretend that everything is okay, even when things are falling apart. Well, part of facing the struggle is to find what's going on with you. Not turn towards the reality of your neighbors, of the relative that has more than you do. It's your reality without comparison. We are unique beings. The good news is that there is nobody in this whole universe that is like you. This is great. So your reality is not like anybody else's reality. Think about that. Embrace our life as it is rather than as we wish it to be. It's amazing because we are always thinking about the future. What's going to happen when I retire? What's going to happen? Of course, I get it. And this is important. This is very important. But let's stay in the present moment. I wish I had this. Well, you don't have. And then what? Oh, I'm going to fight for it. Okay, you fight for it, but you have to know your limits. Embrace your life as it is right now with what you have in hand. And I'm not saying that you don't need to go reach for your dreams. It's not this. The good spirits are not telling that. It's for them to they tell us to find our place in the world, find our place in this life. And that comes with gratitude. Be thankful for what we have without always thinking what I don't have. Most of us, most of us spend our days thinking about, I wish I had this, I wish I was like that, I wish, I wish, I wish. Okay, what do you have now? And some of you might be thinking, well, my life is devastated. I have nothing. And I have to give you some news. You have a lot. There are people at this time that cannot open their eyes. There are people that cannot hear, and you can. There are brothers and sisters that cannot turn in a bed. You can. There are people that cannot lift their fork to eat, and you can. So turn inside, turn to yourself. Every single day, you do have something to be grateful. Even nowadays, the air that you breathe, where many are not breathing anymore. Think about that. Okay, but it's hard. It is hard. It is very hard. But let's just not the troubles, the issues, and difficulties to take us away from the life that we are here to be. Don't let that undermine our goals, our actions. This is part of life. I may not have everything I want, but we do have everything we need. The need, for sure. And you might be thinking, well, there's a lot of brothers and sisters that don't even have what to eat, don't have a home. And I can tell you what they have, what they need. Because maybe if you think about the reincarnation perspective, maybe they had that already and didn't make good use. What we do then? We turn our back to them? No. We are compassionate. Of course. We are sustaining our brothers and sisters in this miserable trial for many. But there is a reason why we go through what we go through. The health. Health, it's a very sensitive topic because there are many people with so much health and doesn't even care about it. And I know so many struggling so much. Let's be thankful that you and me, we are healthy, at least physically healthy, because the mind still have a lot of work to do. That's why we are here. Stay close to your feelings, even the painful ones. This is hard, my friends. This is so hard. It is very easy to present ourselves on things that we enjoy about ourselves. I'm smart. I am a brilliant worker. I am a great father, a great mother. Yes, this is great. I have a heart that loves to help people. This is great. But there are feelings out there, no, inside us, out there, they are painful. And we have to find them out. Sometimes we struggle because we don't find how much selfish we are being in that situation, how much pride we carry in our hearts, how stubborn, how ungrateful. So think about it. I understand that the way that they tell us when they say know thyself, um, it's for us to find those feelings. What in me it's not good enough. I have to be able to point that out, not wait for others point at me. Before others pointing at me, I should be able to find on myself. Where is my arrogance? Those things, we can find a lot of conditions that will bring us to situations that could be a lot smoother. So recognize that you are a person with a great heart, great love for your family, for your friends, and people that ask for your help. You're always there. But deep inside, you're very arrogant, or you're very selfish sometimes, or you just want to do things for people to notice you. So, those little things that we have to pay attention to that. And that helps a lot. That helps tremendously in our waves in life. And going to a little bit to the end of our talk today, I want to bring him. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not Christian. And again, I will tell you, I'm not asking you to be. Spiritism does not ask you to be Christian. My intention today is to bring Christ as a whole model of a being that came to this earth that we are in a time that was a lot worse than it is right now, to show us how we deal with our struggle. That's it. You don't need to believe in anything else. You don't need to be a Christian. You don't need, it doesn't matter. Let's take him as a subject, better saying, to respect the ones that are not Christians. For us, he said, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you find tribulation. But take heart, I overcome the world. Sometimes when I'm going through a lot, sometimes, no, many times, I look at this picture and this is not a ritual because we don't have those in spiritism and I respect whoever needs that. But I look at it because in Christ, I find strength. I understand that he didn't come to earth to save us from the trials, from the hard work. He didn't. The concept that we have, the Christ, the Savior, sometimes it is, well, where is Christ? Where is God? And that's why religion is so down nowadays for some people. Because the concept I have is, where is God? Where is that Christ that said that he would save me? And that's why I want to bring the model, the subject, the model of his conduct. Because what he's saying to us is, we sometimes skip that part. In this world that you are in, you're going to find hard times. He never said it was going to be easy. But we are disheartened. We are out of hope. He never said it's going to be easy. There is no way in the gospel that Jesus said it's going to be easy. Go ahead, have fun. No. In this world, you're going to have a lot to do it. A lot. But take heart. Take faith. Take faith. Take courage. Whatever you want to call. Because he's saying, I went through a lot too. And I overcome the world. And seeing Christ as our model, the moral model of conduct, I'm thinking a spirit of his level, which is a way beyond the first order that we saw at the beginning, will never tell us to do something without having done himself. That's something for us to think about it. So he's telling us, I am what I am. I am who I am because I overcame a lot. It is possible. There is light out there. So whatever the struggle that we are facing today, God has equipped us enough to face it. Nobody is caring more. It's fighting more. It's putting more effort that goes beyond their strength. Sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it feels. And when it feels like that, you know what we can think about it? Maybe that will help. It helps me. I hope it helps you. God is greater than this that I'm going through. I don't believe in God, so you believe in any strength, even the strength inside yourself, because you want it or not, is the strength of God that created you. Believe in that. What you're facing today is not stronger than you. It's not stronger than the power of God in our lives. So Joanna de Angelis would tell us to find peace and joy when we are dealing with those things. Try to find, well, joy, it's hard. Well, maybe the joy of thinking this is not the end. You lose something that you really wanted for you. It's not the end. Oh, it's a matter. It's a car. It's a home. It's a child. Well, I'll tell you what. You didn't lose your child. He's out there. You're gonna reunite. Your car, maybe, but the car is gonna be lost eventually because you're going to the other side. And you're not taking this car. They may have even better ones, right? So fight with enthusiasm. Fight in a way that you see that as a renewal of our energies, of a way of progress, a way of making yourself stronger, more productive. We can't give up right now, dear friends. We cannot give up right now. And if you are thinking about giving up of this life, I'm here to tell you there is more that you can do. Don't do it. He told us it's going to be hard, but you are going to overcome this. You may have a long way ahead. So, the gospel, according to Spiritism, in this chapter, blessed are the afflicted. There's one spirit teachings that says for us to follow his divine model. It's a model. You're a Christian or not, his conduct is a model. Follow his footsteps. Well, follow his footsteps, what do they mean? I can't follow Jesus yet. Neither can I. But there is attempt that you start on this path. We can't overcome everything yet. But if at the least we find the strength in ourselves, we have the mindset, this is the right word, to try to face that in a better way, and thinking that it's not about this struggle. Because they're also going to say, in my path, in the way that I do things, you're going to find peace. So bear your crosses. That is the word that it's amazing. Every time I'm going through a lot, I try to think about a few things. First one, somebody that is going through a lot more than me. That helps on gratitude, help us to get strength. And when that doesn't work, when I'm so tight and close to myself, my own pain, my me mentality, I think about Christ. Because for this day, he is the only one that came to this planet that did not need to go over what he went through. And he did. He did to show us how to do it. So when I think about the hardships that we are going through, I like to remember this. And that's why I brought to you with the hope that you can reflect about this. You can see the hardships and things that you were struggling with and your efforts that sometimes it feels like it's not going anywhere. See the bright side. This is temporary. This is growth. This is the result of your wonderful progress. You are in the best version right now. Never forget that. So I would like to end this talk saying thank you so very much for the opportunity to speak with our friends from United Spirits Federation. I'm so glad to be here, so thankful for the opportunity, and it is my deepest desire that not my talk, not myself, but the message, the consolation that the Spiritism can bring to us may have comfort your heart as well as it did to mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabrina. This has been amazing. It's so good to hear the words, the wisdom through so many enlightened spiritual beings, Jesus, Joanna, and the message from the Gospel according to Spiritism in the Spirit's book. Let's see if we have any question that was posted. So Freddie, hi Freddie. He says, "Buenos dias. What can you say about the people that bring handicap or congenital diseases from infancy to the adult age?" And I
Who
think
is what's the name?
Freddie, and I think Freddie may be referencing a prior comment in the chat where it said it feels like some people are blessed and may suffer much less than we do. Can you talk about why is it so difficult to accept our own suffering? And then he posted following that, what about those that suffer the entire lives I hope I was able to translate that correctly.
Sure. Of course, I don't have a right answer, right or wrong answer, but the Spirit's book does. What the Spirits tells us is that some people that come in those conditions, it is a learning process for them as well. There is a reason why they reincarnate in such a hardship, such a trial, and an expiation, that things that they can't change, right? Some people, they can't change their condition. And this is part of a spiritual progress. That child that you see so little, or that those parents, they are not living the first experience. So there were many things that that spirit went through in past experiences that now is the results of what he's facing right now. So for us that have to see this happening in the world, and maybe parents as well, it is to sustain that spirit in this such a difficult trial, because after that, it's not going to be like this anymore. Each one of us, in congenital diseases, sometimes in life, and I'm not, of course, I'm not saying that this is 100% applied to everybody, but what the Spiritist tells us, that when you reincarnated with a congenital disease, that is such a sort of damage already in our spiritual body, that we have to reincarnate to go through that experience and try to make it better, make it different. So the fact that you accept going through that painful time helps you to evolve and to expert, if I can say like that, and that will eventually be a little bit less intense. But we and I don't know if it's your case that you have a relative in this condition, but we usually focus more on what we have a congenital diseases. But there are people that may have a perfect health as far body wise, and their mind are really sick. So each one of us are going through a fight that we don't know about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
Thank you,
to be
Sabrina.
specific, I think what he asked in the Spirit's book, I don't know the chapter from my horrible memory, but there is a chapter that talks about only why we suffer, is the consolations. I just have to see, is a part 4 of the Spirit's book, has all the questions related to why some kids at young age are born like that. They answer that for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabrina. Let me see if we have another question. So, Yasko, hi, Yasko. She says, great reminder, Sabrina. Most of our problems become struggles because we failed in solving them over and over in the past. So, isn't it because we're trying to get better results with the same protocol and or jumping crucial steps in their solutions? How to become sincerely aware of these missteps or of our denials, etc., and face them with a better approach.
Okay, Yasko, right? His name,
Yes,
Yasko.
yeah,
Okay, so I'm thinking here on your questions. Is exactly what I think. Sometimes we are failing and failing and failing, and it can take a little bit of stubborn too. We kind of see that things are not working the way we were, and that thing that the door is closed. I'm trying and trying, trying the same thing. It could be a way of, okay, I try once, I try twice, and the same thing over again. Maybe try different approach. Sometimes we see a door that is closed in front of us. We want to break that door and go no matter what. And that's why we brought the plan A, plan B, and plan C. Is a array of possibilities that we can go through it. And sometimes, due to our stubbornness, we don't see ahead, right? And the way that you can be aware of missteps is through experience. Through experience. So I like to give a simple example. If I go to try a test to get to Harvard, for instance,
mhm,
and I fail at first, I always wanted to go to Harvard. Okay. I study, I do all what I can. I study a different way and I fail the second way. The third time, I can no longer go. I know deep inside that I did my best, that I studied, that I tried this, and that. I did all that I could under my power to pass on the test, and I didn't. Well, maybe it's a time to consider other possibilities. But no, if I want to be hitting my head on a Harvard door when it's already closed, I'm missing the way ahead of me. So that is what I understand as far as what Spiritism has to tell us on this. There is a bit of us to understand that when God closes a door, it's not only about the things that we are doing right or wrong, because sometimes we do everything right that we think it is right, and it still doesn't work. So maybe it's time to move on, right, to something else.
Absolutely. Thanks for the explanation. So, TV say, there's a question from the process of overcoming our primitive passions and tendencies, not an easy one. Can you explain, Sabrina, how to kickstart that path and make it easier for us?
Well, I can't explain, but in the gospel, Jesus can explain to us. I use that for myself. I don't know if it's gonna work for everybody, but I try to use for myself. The first thing I do to overcome things on me that I'm trying to discover, because I don't know, I probably know 10% of them, is to think about it. If the way I act, the way I talk to people, the way I live my life, if somebody would be doing that to me, how would I feel? That's one thing that you can do it. When somebody, for instance, offends you or hurt you, okay, I'm hurt. I know this is not the way that it should. I feel a little emotion. I feel sad, whatever. Well, where that on me was the offense? It's because I think I'm the best one in that situation, or because I think I can never get hurt, or because I'm thinking that I should be perfect. So there's a little ways that we can start to identify inside us, the ways that I deal with my material things, and the way that I deal with my spiritual life, meaning the progress. Am I attached more to things from the matter? And this, when I say this, I'm not saying only money or things, but some people do not even open a book to learn and to, to read enlightenment message, but they are over the internet looking for all types of sort of excuse my word, junk information that is not feeding their soul. So there are things that we can do to start to see where our inclinations are. That's the word I want to say. Um, and trying to think about that. And it can be in things that are very simple. Am I eating too much? Why am I eating too much? I'm not hungry. I can stop eating. Maybe I'm nervous, maybe I'm anxious, maybe. So things that we can start to trace in ourselves and find uh, ways to identify. Like, but you might not be able to identify many of them sometimes. And one thing that I like to always think is that when the person that likes us is never going to tell you where you really need improvement, but the person that do not like you, they will do that. So if somebody tells you you're rude, you're arrogant, well, we don't like to be criticized, right? Nobody does. But maybe you can take that not as a truth because you don't know yet, but try to think about this comment and say, does this really applies to me? In which situation may I have act like that? So there are things we can do every day, easy steps, but it's not easy to find. Like you said, it's not easy to find what is wrong, but it's possible with slowly in circumstances of life where you need improvement. And if you're going to change or not, it's a long process. But just the fact that you recognize what can be better or what needs to be a little bit fixed or a lot fixed and go ask for help if you need, I think it's a good start. It's a good process.
Absolutely. I think we have time for one last question. So the U.S. Spiritist Federation page had a question. Can you talk about the difference between mental and physical struggles?
Oh, the difference in the mental part, when we to give I need to give examples to formulate my thought. I've known people that are having a lot of physical struggles, meaning disease, physical body, but they are not sick. They are not mentally sick per se. So when you go to a chemotherapy treatment, you can easily identify who is sick of the body and who is sick of the mind. Some people are going through a lot in the physical body, but their mind are kind of healthy, trying to overcome that disease. And some people that you look at it doesn't have any health condition, but the mind is the mental part is very sick. Um, Selfishness and many things. We are all selfish, but some people, they, what I want to say is that they don't make that transparent. When you have a physical disease, that is evident. Everybody can see it. But when you have a mental issue, not when I say mental issue, I'm not saying mental, the pathology as far as mental, from that needs psychiatric treatment only. That is true, but um, I can have a lot of mental problems, meaning a mind that's not working well, a mind of revenge, a mind of hate, and I physically don't appear that I have that. So most of us are in that boat. Although I know many people, they have a lot of disease in the body and they have a good mind, trying to overcome and move on with their lives and say, okay, God, this is what you have to me. I'm going to face it. But there are some that have very little as far as the struggle, and the mind is very sick. And we can identify them because, again, the only way you can identify is by the actions, but we can act the way that we want. Just like I'm talking to you here, you're not going to see the real me. So, in reality, many of us are not quite set of the mind because we are in this planet, but we're trying, we're striving to it. Um, that's what I can say.
Yeah. So it's important to understand, right?
Yeah.
Despite unawareness of any physical expression of a struggle, you have that mental struggle that may be invisible to most of us.
Yes.
So, anyways, I believe we're coming to our time with you. And I want to say thank you so much. I want to thank you, Sabrina. I want to thank you, everyone who watched this live talk and those who have been following our weekly talks as well. Next Saturday, which is August 21st at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, don't miss Rudy De Souza, who will be speaking on the topic Grieving with All My Heart. Sabrina, I would like for you to please close the live with a prayer. Is that okay?
Sure.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me again. Thank you all. I feel very blessed to be here today. Thank you. So, with our minds and our hearts open to the above, we thank you for this opportunity to be here in this chain, in this torment. In our world, we still find possibilities to grow in love, to connect to each other, to treat our spiritual matters. That is really what's going to remain later on. Dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for having a way to see the bright light outside while so many can't do that. May our hearts be filled with gratitude, hope, and courage in any times in our lives. Help us to remember your love by us. May we all be in peace, surrounded by a blessed energy that will settle the matters of our physical body and our minds. Thank you. So be it.